In this section, we are going to work on the topic of the limiting effects that the emotions and feelings you experience have on you due to the obsessive thoughts that overwhelm you. As you may remember, the first step to controlling our emotions was to define what the emotion did to you, which is what we saw here in this frame that I am showing you here on the screen. This is what we worked on previously. It was part 1. Once this is done, the next thing is to define what it is that you no longer want to do because of that emotion. And as in the previous sections, here it is about doing a process of introspection that allows you to define what aspects of your life you are limiting due to those emotions that we're working on here. For this reason, the idea is that once you have reflected on it, you write down in the corresponding box on your psychic map what you no longer want to do. To give yourself a clue, which will allow you to do it much more easily, think about something that previously motivated you and that now you don't dare to do. For example, if as a result of that obsessive thought, which you are learning to control here, you have stopped trusting others, you must write that down as I show you here. Another limiting effect could be going out with other people. Because you have developed such fear of being hurt, you may find that you no longer feel motivated to interact with others. Or it could be that you no longer want to go to a specific place that you used to like to be. It could be a park, a square, or a restaurant. You define that. As you can see, the purpose of this exercise is so that you can recognize and accept what you do not dare to do because of those thoughts. At this point in the program, you already know that the process of self-awareness and acceptance is what allows us to find the antidotes to get the relief we need, and above all, to free ourselves from what overwhelms us. And the second part of this exercise consists of defining why you no longer want to do what you used to like and that you now avoid because of the fear or limit that your thoughts have induced in you. And as in the previous exercise, here you must think and write down in the table that I show you here, which you will find in your psychic map notebook, what you fear most. What is the worst thing that could happen to you if you go to that place in which you no longer feel comfortable, but that you used to like, or if you do that activity that now you no longer want to do because of those thoughts that overwhelm you? An example could be that you think that if you go to that place, some people might make fun of you. Or it could also be that you fear that by going to that place, you could run into your ex-partner. The idea is that here you think about all the possibilities, everything that makes you afraid to do what you don't dare. I am completely sure that when you do this exercise, you are going to feel that fear, and above all, that discomfort that the obsessive thought that we are dissociating you from here subjects you to. But if you pay attention, here I am inducing you to a new process, the psychic control. You experience the same emotion that you would feel if you were actually in that place or in that situation, but you do it in a controlled way. This is what is usually done in the consultation for cases like this. The idea here is to teach you to do it for yourself. So, once we have induced the process of self-awareness, the next thing is to help you to experience the situation in a controlled way. Therefore, here I am going to teach you 2 techniques that you can use to dissociate yourself from your limiting thoughts. First, the mask technique, and second, the Olympus technique. So I want you to visualize yourself experiencing that situation that limits you for now, to see yourself going to that park or meeting that person who could bother you. Those emotions and physical sensations that bother you will immediately begin to arise in you. But don't worry, because that's the idea of this exercise. I want you to build a mask while you see yourself in that situation with fear. If you feel fear, which must be expressed on your face, or insecurity, I want you to create in your psyche a mask of courage, of security, of trust. And even when you feel afraid, I want your face to reflect that security, that confidence. The mask is outside of you. Your psyche, your internal emotions, are what subject you to that fear that you feel throughout your body. But the mask begins to generate the opposite effect. As your real face and your emotions are not seen, you begin to feel that value, that courage, when that the mask is inducing you. And now, I want you to see yourself in the situation you fear, but with your mask and feeling what your mask of courage, security, and trust subjects you to. You will notice that when you put on the mask, your emotions begin to decrease immediately. With which, I have shown you how it is you yourself who can control your own emotions. You are yourself the architect, the sorcerer of your own internal world. I am only here to guide you. And finally, we are going to use the Olympus technique, which gets its name from the mountain on which the gods stood to observe what humans did. As you may remember, Zeus, Athena, Apollo, Hera, and all the other gods were on Mount Olympus, and there they played with us humans. It was as if we were chess pieces, in which it was defined whether order or chaos was going to exist in the world. The wonderful thing about this technique is that through it, you can transform yourself into an Olympic god and play with your own destiny. So I want you to visualize yourself in the situation that limits you, over which you now have more control. And I want you to come out of yourself to induce a process in which you transform into a kind of a spirit that comes out of your body. And you see yourself right there dealing with the situation that bothers you. I want you to see yourself facing that problematic situation for you from the air, as if you were an Olympic god. The idea is that you get as far away from that moment as possible. For example, if you are in a park and you find yourself in the company of your ex-partner who bothers you, I want you to move away, go as far as possible towards the sky, towards the Olympus, and see all this happening very far away from where you are. What do you feel at this moment? If you performed this exercise well, I am sure that feeling of discomfort has gone down again, because you realize that nothing that happens there is going to affect you. And now that you are far away from all that, and that the emotions that upset you have been regulated, I want you to think about what you could do if you met that person and if they did the worst thing that they could do to you. For example, saying something hurtful to you or laugh at you. But if you are not in that place, why should it affect you? Do you notice the power of this exercise? If you go to that park or face that situation, the person no longer has power over you because you are not there. That person is no longer relevant. Therefore, you can go to that place or do whatever you want, because in practice, that person or situation no longer has any influence on what you do or stop doing. Here, the idea is that you can recognize what it is that you don't want to do and that you induce a state in which you can little by little go back to doing what you like. And with this, we have already taken a complete tour of your emotions and the effects that those obsessive thoughts that hurt you have on you. If you apply everything you have learned so far, very soon you will realize that your emotions enter a state of balance. The idea is that you do all this automatically and quickly. People who learn these techniques usually do it in less than 3 minutes. This entire journey that we have done throughout these hours in which you are learning these methods is what will allow you to be a master of your own emotions and above all, of your thoughts.